Hello everyone. I'm Maithili Zog and I'm joined by Vrinchana Karthik from Bangalore. And on behalf of Audax India Women's Group, I welcome all of you for this first virtual session of experience sharing. And we have amazing riders today, Jarul and Jagruti, who would be sharing their experiences. And I hope that you all are doing well and keeping good health. That's very important these days. Most of us have been part of this wonderful group which Divya created way back in April 2019. And thank you very much, Divya, for connecting all of us together. And thank you for joining this session today. Now, since we have friends and family members joining this session, I'll quickly introduce Divya. Of course, she doesn't need any introduction to a rider. Uh, I would say that Divya has been a pioneer of ultra cycling in India. When we had never even heard of terminologies like BRM and SR, Divya was the first Indian to do SR way back in 2010. And she was the first one to qualify and participate in Paris, which is a very, very prestigious event. Then she did her double SR again in 2013. She has been the motivator for women getting into ultra cycling. And she was instrumental in getting Audax to India. She has amazing organization called Inspire India. The races which she organizes are very close to our hearts, especially for me. Deccan Cliffhanger has always been very close to my heart. She has been at the international level. She has amazing experience of crewing, participating, and whatnot. So we have Divya here today, and over to you, Divya, for your quick comments about the Audax Club and overall experience in ultra cycling so far.
Thanks, Maithili, and thanks, Grini, also for taking the helm of this movement. So I'll keep it very brief. Just to a couple of corrections to what you said. I was the first woman SR, not the first SR, and I was one of about 15 of us who went to PVP in 2011. The only woman at that time. And yeah, so it's been quite a long journey. And I was in 2011, I was the only woman from India in the Indian group. And also, as I've talked about this before, the percentage of women in Audax is really small. So even at PBP, it's around 5 to 6% women only. So it was in a sea of men. And 2019 was when there were about 20 plus 20 women, I think, who participated in PVP. Around 25 had registered and stuff, and that's when this WhatsApp group actually was formed for the women who were going for PVP, and that's how I got in touch with this wonderful, such a group of strong, incredibly capable women who I was so fortunate to interact with and then to even meet at PVP. So I didn't meet everybody. I have met some later also. But yeah, just to introduce the two riders to the audience today, I'm just going to, briefly tell everybody how I met Jarul and Jagruti at PVP at the finish line. I had met Jarul before that, not Jagruti. This was the first time. And this was at the courtyard of PVP. Those of you who did PVP 2019 will remember the start and finish area was this big courtyard. And I was on the other side of the courtyard at the officials' corner trying to get myself a coffee or something. And everything had died out. PVP was over the previous night. Most of the officials had cleared away. There were hardly any riders also. There were a few men from India who I met just before that, including Chakrabarti and Birur from Coimbatore and one or two from Pune and things. And that's it. They had just slept the night there, and there was hardly anybody in that entire courtyard. And I was standing over there, and I saw one female figure at the officials at the office. outside the door talking to the officials there. And I'm looking at that and thinking, there's something about her that is Indian. There's something about her that's at least Asian, maybe Indian. And then I heard Jarul's voice and I recognized her voice from having met her before. And I said, oh my God, she's like, and she had just finished PVP. She was, I think, I don't know, 10, 12 hours late, but had, just cycled through. And then she was
23
super
hours late.
excited. And that was okay. But the thing is that, for having cycled 1200 plus kilometers, your energy level was like way up there. And she tells me very excitedly that, Jagruti is also coming, Jagruti is also coming. वो थोड़ा ही पीछे है मेरे, अभी पहुंचेगी. And I was like, wow, what a fantastic moment to be over here. Felt so good that I was there to to see both of them finishing PVP. It was a really good moment. And I'm going to hand over now with that to Grini to finish introduction so we can hear them talk about their experiences.
Thank you, Divya.
So now, Grini, before you take over, I'll quickly introduce you. Divya has handed over the baton to the most, I would say, capable person, Grinchina. What Grinchina has achieved from 200 kilometers to 2000 kilometers in just less than 2 years' time. She has 7 SR titles, which includes one 5-day SR, which she did in February 2021. She's the only, correct me if I'm wrong, she's the only Indian who has done 2020 Isan LRM in Thailand. She finished it in 168 hours and 59 minutes. That's commendable. She holds WCA record of being fastest tandem bicycle ride G2G in 2020. She has done Ultra Spice in 2021. She participated in PBP 2019 but could not complete because of crank breakage. And ride across India, 3,150 kilometers from Kutch to Kamakya. She completed it in 20 days. And Chalukya 1200. So this is the glimpse of whatever Grini has done. So over to you, Grini.
Thank you so much for that, Maithili. Those are really, really large shoes to fill. Divya has, handed it over, but it's a huge responsibility, and I hope I live up to what the role calls for. So I would like to introduce Audax India Women and what we are planning to achieve with these sessions. So firstly, Audax India Women in India, there are so many women right now riding incredibly long distances. So when I say long distances, it is anything about 200. So for example, in our group, when Divya started it, we were like 20 people. Now we have 150 women. These are all long distance riders who have finished at least 200 kilometers Audax. So you can imagine how fast we have grown over the last 2 years, and we're continuing to grow. So we would like to emphasize and highlight all these women. They have incredible stories, from what they have gone through, the journeys, and there is so much of inspiration right here in India. We don't really need to look elsewhere. So starting this month and with this particular session, we would be bringing forth Zoom live sessions every month, one session at least of experience sharing by these strong women. And we're also looking at supporting our group with sessions on how to approach LEL and PBP going forward, aspire for these prestigious events and how to complete them. So we will be planning sessions on how to go about these events. And also would like to introduce Dr. Maithili Jog, who is my partner in fellow associate in the in Audax India Women. She is among her numerous cycling achievements. She has a lot of things in her cycling resume. To start with, she is like the first Indian woman to have completed full Everesting outdoors in October 2020. So she's made like a good use of the first lockdown and trained for it and went ahead and accomplished this. And she has been a racer. She's completed Deccan Cliffhanger 4 times. And most recently, she has completed the Sahyadri Classic, the ultra cycling race in 2021. So that's a small brief about her cycling. Besides that, she's also the head of India Relations, of the Tel Aviv University, Israel. I would also like to take a moment to remember our fallen friends, like who lost their lives in the last few months. We have lost two Audax rider women, Dr. Amrita Ranjan and Shehnaz Parveen, to two tragic road accidents while they were out cycling. So it's really sad, and we just want to take a moment to remember them and their incredible accomplishments. Over to you, Maithili.
Okay, so now we have this rockstar duo, Jarul and Jagruti. Many of you must have met them, and let me assure you, once you meet them, the kind of positivity you get, that is contagious. And this amazing duo has been friends for I don't know how many years. Jarul will be in a position to tell us. Just briefly to let you know about their achievements. Jagruti has been in sports and outdoor activities since her childhood. She used to play table tennis at state level. Then, as usual, life moved on, priorities changed, and then in those days she never took up cycling as a sport, but she was interested in keeping herself fit, so she took up cycling with her son's bicycle. And way back in 2012 she rode just 10 kilometers on her son's cycle. And I think from then onward she got interested in cycling, and then she did 200-kilometer ride. And now, just to tell about her BRMs, her randonneering journey, she has done 45 BRMs. Uh, in 5 years, she has done 9 SRs. She has cycled 51,000 kilometers in just 5 years. And the list goes on. Okay. So we will be talking to both of them uh, about their PBP experience, about Jagruti's recent experience of Deccan Cliffhanger, and of course Jarul's experience of her amazing, I would say, preparations for her 1,000 DRM, her last moment entry into all sorts of rides. And she has always been a very, very amazing triathlete also. She is a podium finisher in various triathlons in 2019 and 2022 cyclathons. She has been a podium finisher. Then she has been she stood first at state level cycling events from 2001 to 2005. And she also has done 3 SRs in one season, and the list goes on. So we have, let's start our discussion with both of them. So Jagruti, you have been a sports person, and how do you look at ultra cycling? How did you get hooked onto this particular sporting event?
Yeah, so thank you for having me, Maithili, Krini, and everyone. When I started, earlier it was just for the fitness and basic, this regular routine ride. But then I saw my husband also started. I mean, he was into BRM, and seeing him, I got inspired, and I also thought of joining him. So that's how my journey started. Initially, I didn't have a bike, so I started with first few kilometers was a regular ride routine, 10, 15 kilometers, and that was a big thing for me that time. So once I did 200 BRM on my hybrid bike, and then I got the confidence, and ever since then I got hooked to cycling and got into BRM, and that's how it started.
Okay, so Jarul, how did you start cycling with Jagruti?
Till I did my first BRM, that is way back in 2016, I did the night BRM. Till that time, I didn't know anything about Jagruti. That was the ride where I met her. And after that, I heard stories about Jagruti doing, 600, 400, kisi ne bola 800. So I was thoroughly impressed. I was like, dude, if this lady can do, तू तो भी बच्ची है, तेरे को करना चाहिए. And yeah, that's how I got into BRM and endurance. And yes, Jagruti has always been an inspiration. And probably I'm a very huge fan of hers. So I keep on, I try to keep on registering for BRMs where she would go. There have been rides where we both would have started together, of course. And then en route, of course, I am very lazy. I was a very, very lazy and slow rider. So I kahin par piche chhoot gayi hongi. And then suddenly, after a while, I'll see her, I'll meet her, and I'm like, yay, let's ride. So most of our rides together have been like that only. So to say in a way that we have been riding together, तो वो थोड़ा गलत भी होगा, and it's true also.
Okay. So that must have been really a motivation to think about PBP. How did you start thinking about participating in PBP? और आपका उसके पहले मेरे ख्याल से you attempted 1000 before you attempted 600.
हाँ, तो my first attempt to do an SR was in 2016. Yes. So in 2016, when I went to do 600, I think I had DNF at 572. I had 28 kilometers and 1 hour to go. So I was like, yaar, ye to possible hi nahi hai. I was mentally broken and exhausted, and I was like, ab nahi bas.
Oh.
And so that time I gave up. After that, next year, in a 300 BRM, I got ITB. So uske baad to the whole my cycling things went for a toss. And that same year, I had to do G2G also. So मैंने बोला चलो, I need to prepare my leg properly, because my G2G was sponsored by HCG Cancer Hospital, and I was doing a ride to create awareness about breast cancer and early detection. So
just to interrupt over there, and for the listeners, G2G is this ride which is conducted by Delhi Randonneurs, Chiro Mitra, and it is a 1460 kilometer ride from India Gate in Delhi to the Gateway of India in Mumbai. So that's the distance that she's talking about, ultra cycling distance of 1460 kilometers. Yeah, please continue, Jarul.
So that year, then SR was not a priority, so I gave up. And PBP happened to me because I never, till 2016-17, I never got my passport. I have too many relatives in US, and my parents told me to go visit there. I said, agar main jaungi, to I'll go for my own event or my own sake. Then only I'll go out of India. Otherwise, I'm not going. And then I heard somebody talking about PBP, and when I read, I felt that it is such a huge thing that you'll get to at least meet so many people from various countries. This is the time I should go out of India. So that is the reason I thought about PBP. And 1000 to, because PBP registration ke liye, you need to have an early spot. So I had to do 1000. I was like, okay, chalo, let's try this also. And just before couple of months before that 1000 was in September. And till May, I was in Baroda. Tab tak mera thoda training chal raha tha. After that, I shifted to Bombay. May, June, July, no training literally. And in August, there was a 400. I was like, okay, I'll go and do this 400. If I'm able to finish this 400 within time, then I will register for 1,000. So without practice, I did that 400. At the finish point, after reaching, I registered for that 1,000.
Wow.
I have 3 weeks in between. I train. अभी ये I train वाला जो statement है ना, वो हमेशा I train सपने में ही होता है कि एक एग्जाम खत्म हुई, मैं दूसरी एग्जाम के लिए प्रिपेयर करूंगी, but I never end up doing that. And for 1,000 I didn't prepare. ठीक है, चलो let's try, देखते क्या होगा. And yeah,
Wow.
Jagruti was there for that 1,000. So I was like, ठीक है, चलो कुछ तो होगा, कोई तो साथ में होगा.
That's great. So it might sound so simple as you are talking, but if we can imagine that what this is so creditable. So then you both of you started preparing for PBP together.
Yeah, so that training we both were, when I was in Baroda, we both were training together with Miten sir and Nimish Matadia under Cyclozine. So that time we were training together. But yeah, of course, after that, Jagruti continued with her training and I became a lazy bum. So training हमारा साथ में, फिर भी, whenever I used to go to Baroda on weekends, I would ensure that I go for a ride with these people.
Okay, so coming to Jagruti, we would like to know more about your experience during PBP.
So, Maithili, first, I want to tell you about how my BRM journey started. When I did my 400, that was okay in 2016 back then. Sorry, guys, I have got COVID. So since last 3-4 days, my voice and I'm not feeling good. So my camera is off. So please bear with me. So, yeah. So then I went for 600 and it was on a highway towards Mumbai side. And I couldn't finish that ride. And at 420 kilometers, I got a knee pain. And I had to quit that ride at 420. And I felt so bad. So some of the senior rider, one of our friends, so-called, so he told me that if you cannot do this ride, you cannot do BRMs. So that thought and that time I decided that anyhow I'll finish the BRMs now. So that year itself I went ahead with the practice. One month I did it on my own and went ahead with double SR that same year, and that's how I finished, and that's how my journey of SR started, and then it continued. And then after that, I decided to do every year one SR series like that. So, and for me, I'm not a solo rider. I always, though I contradict with Jarul, because Jarul is totally opposite to me. Though we connect a lot, but she prefers riding solo, and I'm always want somebody around me and chatting. And so BRM is actually all about that. I had lovely bonding with the friends ever since I got into BRM. And so I'm talking about this 1000 BRM. That was a practice ride for PBB. So Jarul was there with me, and I share you one example. And as usual, I was very nervous with my this 1000-kilometer ride, and we were in the same room. And in the morning, I was doing Hanuman Chalisa, and only 1 hour was left to go for this ride to start. And I saw Jarul behind me, and she was dancing and Bidi Jalaile and all that song and all that. And I was doing Hanuman Chalisa, and like I was trying to concentrate, and she's singing and dancing. So I was like, Jarul, relax. So that, and then that's how we started our ride, and that was a beautiful experience, 1000, and that was a learning, and that really helped in our PBB training, and it was part of training only 1000. And so
tell us about your actual experience at PBP.
When Jarul was very sure that she was going to do PBB, I had no idea whether I'll go or not, but friends from Baroda, they were registering, and they told me to join, at least register for the first thing. And so then I registered. Then I didn't know how to start and how to go with the practice and all. So a friend of our friend come mentor from Baroda, he came forward and he helped us to how to go ahead and what kind of training to follow and everything. So 6 or 7 riders from Baroda, we all used to ride together for all 6 months. We did the training under Miten sir and Nimesh Makadia, our mentor come friend. So except for the elevation part, that this much elevation is there and the weather is extreme and all that, besides that we had no idea about the ride and all that. So those 6 months we really practiced hard, though the time was not sufficient for the practice, because then evening we started with the strength training and all. So that's how all started. When I went to Paris, my bike, everything was ready. Then on the bike day, on the checkup day and all, bike check day, everything was ready, stamped, and I was coming back from the the start point. There suddenly what happened, bike mein malfunction hua. There's something went wrong, and I realized that my bike is not. I mean, it was moving fast. The wheel ka chakkar hua. So then, what to do? Luckily, my husband and Miten sir was with me that day. So we went to a mechanic there. So he said, "You have to change the wheel. You can't ride on this wheel now." And then we decided to go to Decathlon. There also I asked. That time that guy didn't have, that mechanic didn't have the wheel at that moment. So he told me to come next day, and next day was the ride at 5 o'clock. So tension बढ़ गया, what to do. So we went to Decathlon. Sare shops were closed. There they closed the shops very early. So by 6:30 everything was closed. रात को हम लोग 9 बजे तक I was in Decathlon. He tried, but then he said, I would not suggest you, madam, to go ahead with this kind of problem. Then ये हुआ कि I have prepared for all 6 months and tomorrow is the ride, and whether I will be able to stand on the start line or not. तो इतने thoughts and don't know how I managed. Next day, सुबह 9 बजे morning, and the hotel where we were staying was 50 kilometers from the start point. So then my husband and Miten sir, they came from that place to Ramboy. So और ये जो mechanic था, उन्होंने, he assured I'll get the wheel and all that. So whole night I could not sleep. टेंशन में कि व्हील होगा नहीं होगा ये चक्कर में. एंड I had to leave the place for that day for the start at around 2:30, और 1 बजे तक मेरी साइकिल was not ready. So imagine the pressure and all I had. Whole night I couldn't sleep. Whole night I couldn't sleep. Hundreds of thoughts and all that. फिर जाके 1-1:30 बजे these people came to the hotel, बाइक तैयार करी, came back again to the start point that day, and my start time was at around 6 o'clock. So reporting time was around 4:30, 5 or something. तो मैं वहां से 2 बजे, we started from there. I didn't have lunch, and the ride was to start at 5 o'clock. So there I reached. 4 बजे हम लोग कैसे करके पहुंचे, and then finally my bike was ready, and that's how कुछ खाना उधर से जो भी मिला, some fast food and whatever was available, I had that. And then 5:30 I started the ride, and I was literally in tears when I started the ride. So it was like that. Very stressful situation. The whole night was like, and that affected my journey further, because first 600 was perfectly okay. I was doing well and all that. And whatever happened was after that. Then I was in sleep deprived mode. Then food was a problem for me. I somehow first 2 days too was manageable, but then third and fourth day, then started all this. So, but overall it was a learning experience, and it was amazing. One must, it should be a bucket list kind of thing for all the Randonians, I would say. So must do.
So Jarul, how was your how did you start? How was the start, and how things were going, and were you together, riding together, and in general, how was the experience for you?
I met Jagruti, I think, probably at the second control point. Because that was the only time, that was middle of the night, around, I don't know, 12:30 something. And that was the only time when I had taken food from the control point. Otherwise, probably I did that smart thing during the entire ride. I had never taken food at the control point. I would just get my stamping done and move and take food from outside. So I used to have that, bucket वो पूरा long bread का sandwich. वो लेके उसको वो foil paper में wrap करके I used to keep it in my jersey. So en route cycle चलाते चलाते खाते जाओ. That was the smart thing I did. Of course, the not smart thing was I did not train. And okay, after I met Jagruti, she pushed ahead. She was really well trained. So मैं तो सोच भी नहीं सकती थी that I can, go along with her. I told her, you go, I'm going to sleep here for a while. And then maybe probably third control point or somewhere, I had got hypo. It was not a control point. It was in between resting point. Now I know that at that time I was suffering from hypothermia because I slept there for almost 2.5 hours or maybe 3 hours. I don't remember for how long. And there was some Indian sitting next to me thinking कि Indian ladki hai, so I should be there to support her. तो मुझे खाली इतना याद है, I had told that gentleman that you please move. I will be fine riding alone. मुझे कोई problem नहीं है. After coming back from Paris and all, after 2 months, I came to know that gentleman was Mr. Jitendra from Udaipur, Rindonia. So तब तक मुझे नहीं पता था कि कौन था क्या है, कुछ भी नहीं पता था. And okay, so I think I would rather jump on to the end part, around 900 kilometers or something. वहाँ पे जो control point था, that time probably it was afternoon, 2-3 o'clock or something, and it was already my finish time was already gone. I mean, 90 hours was of course over, and I literally thought of giving up. I went ahead 20 kilometers ahead of the control point, came back thinking that I'll board onto a truck or something and I'll go back. So वहाँ पे Miten sir told me, don't do this. He said, you just ride, just finish it. And now my husband Ravi, that time of course he was my boyfriend, he told me कि Jarul तू अभी give up करेगी ना, तो just think of what you are going to, how you are going to face yourself for next 4 years until the next PPP comes. And I was like, ठीक है, I don't have any option. I'm finishing the entire distance. And after that, I met 2-3 riders from Goa. They rode along with me for a while, and then they said कि if you will reach late, you are not going to get anything. You are not going to get a medal or nor a certificate, कुछ भी नहीं. तो हम लोग तो वापस जा रहे हैं. And then I thought, यार, I'm not riding for the medal or certificate. मैंने बोला चलो कम से कम एक experience तो होगा that how riding 12-40 kilometers and how does it feel riding in an unknown country. So after that I met some local rider. He rode along with me for 50 kilometers, and then it was almost sunset time and all. So I asked him, are there any wild animals in France? He said no. I was like, okay, अगर wild animals नहीं है तो मुझे दुनिया में कोई चीज से खतरा नहीं है. There were no carnivores, तो मुझे कोई टेंशन नहीं है because the route ahead was going to pass through a forest area. Then I said, चलो, I'll keep on riding. फिर रास्ते में after that I didn't have any food. कुछ भी खाने के लिए नहीं था. And no restaurant because then it was a highway. So I didn't know what to do. So I saw a family sitting outside their house in a garden and they were having their meal. So I called out to them. I begged for some food. So they gave me some bread. उनके पास भी ज़्यादा नहीं था, so they gave me इतना छोटा सा bread का piece. And they didn't have anything to apply on it. तो खाली कोई तो वो उसके घर में एक बच्चा था, he had some jam kind of thing, तो वो उसने मुझे दे दिया. I was like ठीक है चलो, I'll survive the night. And yeah, after that एक कोई कंट्रोल पॉइंट था इन कोई विलेज के अंदर, एंड दैट वाज अ एटीएम सेंटर. तो वो जैसे वो विलेज में एंटर हो रही हूँ, आई एम हेल्यूसिनेटिंग एंड आई फील दैट आई एम एंटरिंग इनटू कोलकाता, वेयर आई हैव नेवर बीन. एंड एकदम से देन आई सी सो मच लाइट्स एंड ऑल. आई वाज लाइक ठीक है चलो, कुछ कहीं पर तो पहुंच गई मैं. आफ्टर exiting from that city, it's complete forest, pura dark forest. I couldn't see anything on either of the side, and then again I was dead sleepy. तो क्या करूं, वो फॉरेस्ट जैसे एकदम पाइन ट्रीज वाला, वो जैसे एंड हुआ, there's suddenly one house out of nowhere, and on the other side there's a lake. मैंने देखा वो घर के बाहर ना, वो घर के अंदर थोड़ा सा कुछ नाइट लैम्प जैसा चल रहा था. तो चलो I sleep here. If something happens, if I shout, somebody in the house will at least listen to my voice. And yeah, that was a deadly experience. I still feel scared of that part of my life, you know. And after that, आगे जाके I see Jagruti. I was like, wow. That was just wow. फिर मैंने बोला ठीक है चलो I'm riding along with you. And then she went ahead. I stopped because I wanted to sleep. I kept the bike between my two legs. I was literally standing on the bike, kept my head on the handlebar and slept. I slept there for 20 minutes. फिर मैंने बोला चलो अब जागृति मिले तो मिले, नसीब है तो मिलेगी, otherwise नहीं. Luckily, after a while, again I met her. And then I told her, चल अब तो we are riding together. पूरा अंधेरा है. In a while it's gonna be morning, so let's ride together. And there she was drafting behind me for a while. So usi time she was feeling sleepy. So she banged into my cycle. And I told her, चल यार थोड़ी देर सो जा, rest for a while, we'll start again. And उसके बाद morning में जो control point था, that control point, the second last, I don't remember the name of that village or anything, but there I literally had to fight with her because she was like कि यार कोई तो shop में जाके कोई receipt लेना है, कुछ लेना है, because we need to have a proof that we have been to this control point. मैंने बोला यार छोड़, क्यों इसके पीछे पड़ी है? And I was like, then I really got irritated with her and I was like, ठीक है तुझे जो करना है कर, I'm going ahead. Yeah, okay. So after that, I mean, after I went ahead from there, मैंने बोला यार क्या गुस्सा आ रहा है, छोड़ो. And then I was happy कि चलो अब finish होने वाला है. So yeah, that's how, you know, like last 70-80 kilometers like were happy riding for me. And I was full of energy. Yes, as Divya said, yes, I was definitely full of energy.
Wow, that's amazing, because ये बहुत courage चाहिए, because when whatever you narrated, yes, this is real determination and courage. Hats off to you, both of you. And you must have been really very happy to see Divya standing at the finish line. That must have been a real great experience for both of you, isn't it?
And then after, when I reached there was one sweet lady. She said that I just told her that I finished the ride. I showed her my stamp book and everything. But then I was like, you just stamp it. So that I'll have it for my sake that I have finished come at the finishing point. So she stamped it, and in that she put, you know, like an hour before my finish time. I finished around 10 o'clock or something, and she wrote 9 o'clock or something like that. I was like, I was very happy. And she gave me the medal also. I was like, wow, this is it. That was the best reward I got.
That's really amazing. And like you mentioned in the beginning that you finished, of course, you could not finish it in 90 hours, but it really takes real courage to decide that you are going to finish it, even if it is out of the stipulated time. So hats off to both of you. And there are lots of learnings. Your experience is going to be really very helpful for those who are going ahead and decided to participate in PBP and LEL. Of course, as Greeny mentioned, we will have separate sessions for experience sharing, some more technical sessions also. Jagruti, I would like to know from you your recent experience of Deccan Cliffhanger, which you did real amazing ride. So, how was it, DC 2021? In team of two, you
Yeah,
participated in DC.
yeah, Maithili. So Deccan Cliffhanger was in my mind since last 3 years, and I wanted to do solo since long, but mentally I was not prepared, and the BRMs and then PBB or some or the other thing every time when then DC was happening, every time something used to come up. So this year my goal was to do DC. I was preparing in doing solo, so but then I was not confident. Till last, I was like, I asked Divya also that I want to do solo, but I'm not confident. And, you know, so then I decided to go for a team of two. So, but it's a very challenging course and it's a non-stop race. So it's like almost covering elevation of 6,000 plus meters and rolling terrain and extreme weather condition. This time it was really bad. Like, I mean, weather was good though, but more of it was like a monsoon ride throughout. So, so we trained for that. This time we were more prepared, and we had a target of 24 hours finishing. But somehow, like in our category, we did into the mixed relay. So we were only the participants in mixed relay. So we were competing with the team of two men. So we were trying. The first team was from the Bhopal something. So we were chasing them. We were trying to. Our timing was 24 hours 48 minutes, and we were behind just by 16 minutes or so. So we tried hard, but couldn't make it on the first position. But that was a amazing experience, and Deccan Cliffhanger is one thing which everyone should, I mean, participate. It's beautiful. I mean, lovely experience. Very challenging, very adventurous. You, climb all the ghats, so many ghats from Pune to all the way to Goa. And after reaching Goa, the finish point is at Bogmolo. So that is, the best part about the ride is. So it was a excellent this DC, but I do have a plan to do it solo again. So probably next year. So
That's great. So Divya will ensure that everybody is on their toe. So she has DC, she has Ultra Spice and Great Himalayan. So she has ensured that everybody is always prepared for some challenge. That's really nice. So coming back to Jarul, very quick experience about your G2G.
Okay. I did really bad in G2G because वो मेरा ITV problem के बाद ना I didn't do any cycling because I was scared of cycling कि अगर मैं cycle चलाऊंगी तो I'll again have the ITV problem. So I didn't do cycling. I went for a 200 BRM in that November, but then that also I DNF'd at 54. So practice ride के नाम पे मैंने खाली एक 100 किलोमीटर का राइड किया था और एक 70 किलोमीटर का राइड किया था. दैट ऑल्सो आई डिड बिकॉज आई हैड न्यू क्लीट्स. तब तक क्लीट्स क्या है वो भी नहीं पता था. So that is the reason I didn't practice at all. And I had a between Triban 300 जो road bike में काफी basic है. And that was also pretty, almost two years old and thing like that. So cycle का condition भी अच्छा नहीं था. So literally G2G is very, it's otherwise a cakewalk. The only thing you need is patience with yourself to for 6 days, daily morning, wake up, ride, rest, eat and sleep. For 6 days, you need to do this. That's it. but then because I was very slow, so there was not a single day, probably only one day where we had very less kilometers, 130 odd. That day I had completed by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Rest all the days I used to finish my ride at 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And last day, 270 kilometers I completed at morning 3 o'clock. And then again after that, after 3 hours sleep, I had to go start again for the last day ride. So my G2G experience otherwise was not a good one. But yeah, it was fun for me because I was doing it for a cause. So that was what motivated me. And because of that cause, there were, not many people behind me, supporting me morally, and lot many things were at stake. So I was like, यार कम से कम अपनी खुद की बदनामी तो नहीं करवानी है मुझे, तो I need to finish this ride. So that was it. It's a nice experience. It was a nice experience. 6 days was kind of meditative for me. Cycling, usually BRMs, endurance rides are, I go into a meditative state. So when I'm doing that ride, I'll be into that ride completely. After finishing that ride, if you ask me after 2 or 3 days, I won't remember half of the things that I had done during that ride. So it was a nice, lovely thing for me.
That's amazing. And for every...
Sorry, Maitli, just to say this about Jarul. The thing about Jarul is like she says it very casually, but then she does these long distance rides with zero training. It's not everybody that can do it. It requires like incredible strength to do that. And the other thing is like she is the trailblazer in her house. In many cases, in Indian families, you see that the husband does it and then the wife follows. But in her case, it's the opposite. She did G2G first and then her husband followed her. He did it like a year or 2 years later. So
yeah,
that's pretty incredible.
Yes. For both of you, I believe you have amazing family support. And amazing riders from Baroda and Mumbai. How has that been helping you, Jarul?
I have been, traveling to places, of course, somewhere around Gujarat and now in Bombay only. So I have done rides from Surat, Ahmedabad, Baroda, Valsad, Bombay, and one ride, of course, as I said, from Udaipur. So for me, I just pick a weekend, go do the BRM, come back. So I don't see कि मेरे साथ group से कोई आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है. I just decide that if I want to do, I'm doing it. So Udaipur ride was one where there was nobody participating. It was just me and one other girl from Rajkot. So we were just 2 participants. But still the organizer was good that he continued with the BRM and he let us do it. So group support is very important for me because wherever I go for ride, I keep on forgetting something or the other. One BRM I forgot to take helmet along with me. One BRM I forgot to take cleats with me. कभी मैं light भूल जाती हूँ, कुछ ना कुछ भूल जाती हूँ. So I have to have friends in every city who I can approach at the last moment and say, यार मैं ये भूल गई हूँ, इसके बिना तो BRM possible नहीं है. Please मुझे ये चीज दे दो. तो बोरो करके कुछ भी करके BRM करके आओ. साइकिल है, वॉलेट है, ATM कार्ड है, बस हो गया. You just need to go and ride.
Jagruti, how about your family support?
Jab I started the ride, so I started with my husband. We both were doing our first double SR was together. So as a couple, we did it here in Baroda. So he was instrumental in throughout all my journey. My family, from my family side, we are from a conservative family. So initially, though they are very progressive, but initially they felt like riding on a highway and, night riding and all that. They were not very comfortable. So then first जब ride थी, they did not sleep whole night and they were sitting and praying and all that. फिर एक के बाद एक राइड्स बढ़ते गए, so they thought कि ये तो अभी हमेशा का हो गया है, तो now but जब भी राइड है, my husband is always there. He prepares my bike, everything is done by him, so I don't have to worry. And so I have amazing support from my family. Always they are there to do whatever I want. And luckily my son also now understands, so he also doesn't.
We can keep on talking and listening to their experiences. We'll quickly take questions. I can see one question in the chat box, and if at all anybody wants to ask any question to both of them, you can type it in the chat box. So Rachana Sharma asks that do you use a safety vehicle for night riding, and do you take long breaks or ride continuously, especially for bigger distances like 400 and 600?
So usually I ride with a group or friends, known friends also. So that doesn't require the safety vehicle thing and all that. So, but I don't prefer riding solo, because I had an experience once when I was riding from Ahmedabad to Surat side. That time, my husband was also riding with me. He was doing the same BRN, one rider from Surat, and I was riding all parallel. रात को it was around 2 o'clock and we were doing 600 kilometers ride. On the return, 6-7 boys, they came on a bike and they were riding. He was riding, I mean, 3 of them. They were riding parallel to me, besides me, and I was very uncomfortable. And I said, I looked at him, and my husband was ahead of me. Even पीछे जो सूरत के riders, he also noticed that something is wrong. So he asked, "Kya hai aap? Why you riding with us, along with us?" So he said, "Aap kahan ja rahe ho? Kya hai?" All sort of questions and all that. But he was riding so close to me that as if I was, very uncomfortable and all. So suddenly then the guy from Surat, he realized and he said कि हमारा अभी आर्मी ट्रेनिंग चल रहा है, तो आप प्लीज यहाँ से निकलो, एंड हमारे कर्नल साहब पीछे से आ रहे हैं, so please don't follow and ride with us. So then he realized कि अरे ये लोग आर्मी वाले कोई है, तो चलो let's go. So luckily, so that's why I always prefer riding in a group.
Okay, so Geeta has a question. How did you manage route tracking while riding PBP, and what food did you use to have throughout your ride during PBP?
I depended entirely on my Garmin device for the route. And of course, en route, you have to keep a watch on, there were little arrow markers also. So you have to keep a watch of that also. So that was the thing. And food, as I said, I took local restaurants, sandwiches. And that's it.
Okay. And Bulbuli is asked, what was the total expense for PBP and Deccan Cliffhanger, and also for LEL? Probably we can have this in detailed discussion, particularly related to PBP or LEL, or you would like to share some quick figures if you recollect. And of course, the question, what next? This is for you, Jagruti. And of course for Jarul.
Yeah, so I want to do this tour of Tamil Nadu. It's been in my bucket list since long, and one of the Leh Ladakh ride, if I can train that much to be able to ride there. So one of the ultra race I want to participate and do it. So that is in my wish list, and DC of course solo, that is also there in my mind. So. And PBB 23, of course, that is mission still not completed, so that is there.
Wow. How about you, Jarul? We know you have now the great responsibility. The little champ was with you.
Yeah, so I would be happy if I managed to do PBP 23. yeah, and so if I manage to do PPP 23, then I'm going to do DC in 23. That is for sure.
Wow.
And that also solo. मुझे कोई आगे पीछे ना dependency नहीं चाहिए. I cannot tolerate that.
Ye Bhagwan.
Bad at keeping good company.
Then maybe you should go for the self-supported.
Yeah.
DC mein to crew is going to be with you the whole time.
But then I can throw tantrums at the crew, so
That is fine.
That's really great. So now we don't have any more questions.
Wish
So-
both of you ladies the very best in your future ride endeavors.
Thank you.
Yes. So I remember Nita had written on our group that Jarul and Jagruti, J and J, they are Zabardast and Javas. So it was really very nice interacting with both of you. Thank you so much. And it was, I believe, was a great start for all the sessions we are planning for future. And thank you everyone for joining this session. We will continue to meet again and again. Thanks a lot.
If I may just add, thanks so much, Maithili, and thanks, Grini, for doing this. And I think next time Grini needs to start by introducing Maithili with all her list of achievements to the group.
Yes, I did that.
But thank you. What a wonderful session. Thanks, Jarul. Thanks, Jagruti.